are back. This is our tech series number 2. This is segment number 2 of our tech series to try to enlighten people about smartphones, about iPads, about tablets, how to feel comfortable with all of these devices that you may have at home in the box, and you've decided I'm not going to take it out of the box because I don't know how to use this thing that my family sent me and I don't want to use it. But what Kristen and I are trying to do is educate you on how to take that device out, plug it in, and start to play around and feel more comfortable with your device.
There's so many things that can be intimidating about some of these devices, whether it be something like this, that's an Echo Dot through the Amazon products. Once it's set up, it can be really beneficial for you throughout the day. Something as simple as this round little, it almost looks like a little speaker, and you plug it in, and it connects to your Wi-Fi, you actually can speak to it. It can give you reminders for doctor's appointments. You can ask it what the weather is for tomorrow. Some of them are even set up enough that you can tell it to call your daughter, or I don't want to speak about this, but if you, heaven forbid, took a fall, you can actually say aloud, call 911, and it will automatically set you up with emergency services. So Michelle and I are trying to think of the best ways to help you not be intimidated by these things. I was just visiting with a family who kind of did exactly what we were talking about. The daughter lives here in Manchester. Her mom is in Texas, so she sent her a miniature version of an iPad, which is pretty much a small computer. But there's no one in her mom's area to help her set it up. And she actually asked me to kind of type her out instructions so she could read it to her mom without getting frustrated.
That's really important. And as we were talking in the last episode, we now know what apps are and the little square thing. So if you were to swipe, that means that you're going to bring your finger up and down or left to right so that you can move this screen left to right or go up and down, and it has additional features like the search bar. You can talk to Siri, our little friend that's in the phone that's there to help us.
Yep.
You can look for different folders that maybe you've created. Creating a folder is maybe a little bit more advanced.
But you can swipe to find simple things like the calculator, your flashlight. That is one kind of nice thing. Almost all phones that I'm aware of, regardless of the brand, has a little flashlight in it as well. So mine in particular, you have to swipe down, and then you'll have the camera and your settings, and I think your contacts are there too. It also automatically gives you a way to call emergency services too.
These things are unbelievable once you get more comfortable with just taking a minute and looking at them. Yesterday I was with my hairdresser, and she's in her mid-30s, I would say, and she was admitting, she's like, I don't really use technology. And I was saying to her that you could put together pictures of all of your clients, promoting yourself on social media or on your website, and I was showing her how to make a movie of her photos. And that's something that people don't realize is once you start taking photos, your phone will actually turn it into a movie by the memories section of the photos.
You actually helped me with that too a while back, because I didn't even know that my phone could do that. And we did that video that day for your rickshaw, which was fun. That makes me think, you know, we kind of were talking about the apps and the icons, but maybe we should talk a little bit about some of the verbiage, the words that we use and what they are. I know in our first episode we did talk a little bit about an application or an icon. But I read something funny this morning about how to describe what these applications are. So the applications, let's use the weather one for example, which is a little picture of basically the weather. It's got a little cloud picture and a sun peeking out. It's truly like having a little weatherman in your phone. Kind of same with Google. The Google app is like having a worldwide encyclopedia in your phone that you can ask almost any question to and get an answer just by searching. And as Michelle said, you can make up all different kinds of folders or spaces on the different screens to hold the specific information that you're looking for. Sorry, there was a little fruit fly.
Yeah, it's amazing what these devices can do. If you wanted to look at the 10-day forecast or the 7-day forecast, say you had something going on with your family or friends and you were interested in what's ahead, it's all right at your fingertips, so you can be better planning, even though New England doesn't make it tough because
Right.
the weather is always changing, but we hope that you can get an accurate forecast with the weather app.
I was just going through mine again to see what I have on here. Swiping, to the right moves my home screen so that I can see each different little icon or application. One that came in handy last night or 2 nights ago with the strange weather is I have the Cox cable application, which I have set to give me alerts if the cable's out or if my internet is out. And it also will tell you how long the estimated fix time is so that you don't have to worry, or at least you can kind of plan around it a little bit.
Yeah, this has been crazy season of weather.
Of weather, this rain, and we were just saying I turned my heat on last night or the night before because it was so cold and rainy, and now it's up to 70 again today. And I vowed I wasn't gonna. I know, and I vowed I wasn't gonna turn my heat on until November 1st.
So if you wanted to take pictures of those rainy days or the rainbows that you see out there, it would be adding these photos to your camera roll, and then you could crop them and edit them. So you could have a beautiful image that you could share with your family in a text message. So you could take that photo, once you've taken the photo, look at your photos under the the Photos tab. It will go back by months or years, and you can really zone in. Say you wanted to look back, okay, what was the weather last year when I took a photo, and then this year, or a family member that came to visit you on your birthday last year, and then you wanted to pull up a picture from this year. It catalogs it a lot of times by months and years, so it's easier to pull up that information, and you could select. You can make different albums, so if you wanted to make a family album or a dog's album or a cat's album or
your grandkids, whatever it might be. I just discovered relatively recently that there's also a search button within your own photos. And I probably have photos in here from maybe 2018, 2017, so I don't remember when I took certain pictures. I was trying to find a picture of kittens that I had fostered 4 or 5 years ago.
Aww.
I just typed in kitten, and every single cat picture that I've ever taken came up. It still was a little bit to find the specific one I wanted, but it certainly narrowed down the millions and millions of pictures that I have. So again, it seems like they're intimidating, but once you learn some of the ins and outs of the few applications that you think you'll use, I think it could become very beneficial. And you don't have to try to learn it all at once. I think, our suggestion would be start with the ones that you think you would really use the most. Obviously, making a phone call, maybe text messaging, the camera.
Yeah, how do you save a contact? So under your phone, it's usually the app looks like a little phone, and under there is the contacts, and that's where you can save family members, friends, your favorite restaurant or the gym, so you would have that contact information right at your fingertips so you can feel like you could connect to people in your town or your closest contacts.
And once you play with it, it's pretty, I want to say self-explanatory. There's actually a plus sign, and I know that's on both kind of brands of phone, whether you're an Apple or a Samsung or a Google. There's an addition symbol, and then that brings you to a page where it pretty much says first name, last name, if they work for a particular company, or if you want to label it your dentist, and you type in a phone number, you can add an email, and then you just hit save, and it's right there. And when you get a little bit more crafty with what you're doing, you can assign one of your photos to each contact. So like when my sister calls, I have my nephew's picture comes up so that I know it's her calling. So there's some fun little things that you can teach yourself too that makes it enjoyable to use this.
And if it's somebody that you really don't want their phone call, you could add a ringtone that is really maybe like the dog barking or something that's annoying, but that would let you know that that person is calling. And it's really, it's amazing how you can design this to work for your benefit.
Right.
So you can filter people, and you can also block people. So if you're getting a lot of phone calls from a number that you don't want to hear from anymore, you can simply block that number by clicking the 3 little dots, and it will give you the option of blocking.
And I will say there's a new kind of technology that the federal government has put into play where if it's a number that's unrecognizable or a certain toll-free number that keeps popping up, it will automatically tell you on the screen as the phone is ringing that this is a spam risk, or mine has come up saying telemarketer a few times. So even in and of itself, it can kind of help you avoid a call that you really, may not want. And then that makes me think you're probably wondering about voicemail. We all used to have the old-fashioned voice machines, sitting next to our rotodial phones, but this little gadget will also hold all of your voice messages, which you would still get to under that one application that looks like the phone.
Yeah, and what I do is, this is just my personal preference, is that, say you get a phone call from a family member, and unfortunately, they pass away. I have my uncle, a couple of my uncles' video or voicemails in here, and I could go back and listen to them and listen to their message every once in a while. So I always make sure I keep at least one voicemail from family members, just in case anything ever happened. I like to have those voicemails, but then you can delete any voicemails you don't want, and you can clear that out. But it will be a great way to listen back onto what people are calling you about, and you can get back to them because it will also store their contact information, so you can contact them directly if you have to get back to them for a certain reason.
And it made me think too, not to worry if you have your phone off because it's nighttime, or if you have it on Do Not Disturb because you're at an appointment or maybe at a church service or taking a nap. You don't have to worry. No matter what status your phone is in, it will always collect your voice message. So that the next day, say, maybe an out-of-country family member called you at 2 o'clock in the morning. When you get up the next morning, that message will be there for you to listen to. And it'll have a little pop-up reminder that says, 2 voice messages, one from so-and-so and one from so-and-so. So you can go right back in and listen to those. But I just wanted to kind of express that you don't have to always have the phone on you, and you don't always have to have it set to on to collect this information. It's very automatic.
Yeah, and if you have an additional device, it will link to that device too. So say you're working on your tablet, you also have a smartphone, but you wanted to see something bigger on your tablet, your emails can roll over to that tablet or any device, like a PC that I have here, a Microsoft Surface Pro that I have here. It will connect to any device, which is great.
Right, I do that sometimes at home. I'll have kind of 2 things going just for a little bit of ease of use or ease of access. But it is nice because you can collect all the information on every device.
So once you've stored the contact in your phone, then you could text message that person. So say you wanted to text message your daughter, you would then go to the Messages tab. You would click to add a new message, and you can actually add a group message. So you can just message one person or 2 people or 10 people in a group. So that, say you wanted your whole family to be in on, this family reunion that you're having, or a holiday party, whatever it might be.
Yep.
You're able to make a group conversation, and that's where you can all be sharing photos. Now, people can opt out if they don't
Right.
want to hear all about the family information. I come from a big family. I have lots of nieces and nephews, and sometimes they exit. They don't want to hear all the details. They just want to come to the party.
Right.
They don't want to hear all about the
Not
party
keep up.
planning. They just want to enjoy it when they get there. But it's a great way to send photos back and forth, or send information, especially if you're having a big group and you want to stay connected, or just 2 or 3 people. You can have a group chat, which is cool.
So text message, that's one of the phrases that people will use if you want to just send. It's almost, I explained it to someone a little bit like an email message, because that's what it is. It's a typed written word that you're sending to whomever. So, I will laugh in the middle of a business meeting. I might have texted my sister to let her know that, yes, I'd be there for dinner, because you couldn't make a phone call and, cause a commotion in the middle of something. But the other term that's sometimes used is DM, which means direct message. And that phrase can be used for other things like Facebook and LinkedIn and a few other different social media apps. But it can also be used for kind of the text messaging, because you're direct messaging. Michelle and I were planning our get-together this afternoon, so I would say, yes, 1:15 is perfect. That's the time I can get there. And it's a nice, quick way, too, to kind of verify some things. But it is fun when you can learn how to attach a photo. And then there's something called the emojis, which everybody loves playing with the emojis. And it can make sometimes life pretty simple. Like, I just sent the thumbs up today because I was rushed and, driving, which we're not supposed to do. But just to make sure, that we were on the same page, I sent her a funny little emoji to say that things were good and we could move on with our day. But
A thumbs up is mostly a positive thing, like, yes,
yep.
I hear you, I understand what you're saying, and whatever. But there are all different emojis that aren't so positive.
Correct.
So you can explore that keyboard of emojis and decide which ones fit your personality and which ones, depending on the person that you're talking to, fit their personality. When you send a text message, if you hold down on the chat, so say Kristen sent me, I'll see you at 1 o'clock. I could hold down on that text chain, and you could
There you go. Phone call coming in.
you can always put your phone on vibrate or silent if you don't want to be disturbed when you're
Which is what I should have just done, and I thought I had, but I hadn't. But I don't know if you noticed that, but it's very easy to click out of something like that too. You can actually, if you see a phone number come on your screen, you can swipe it away quickly, and that stops it from ringing. You can click the mute button on the side of the phone, and also click either the up or down on the volume, and that would click away the noise or the ringing or whatever you have set.
Yeah,
So maybe that was a good example that happened.
But there are two buttons on the left side that brings the volume up or down, those 2 buttons, and then the little toggle button that goes on and off is your volume. So either you turn it off into silent mode, or you turn it on, and then you can have your volume ringing. But what we were getting back to is when you have a text message, if you hold down on it, you could copy that information. So say it's like a telephone tree. Kristen tells me she's going to be here at 1 o'clock. Then I tell my other friend, I'm going to be there at 1 o'clock. I could hold down on that message and send it to somebody else. So you can basically copy the information. Or you could simply hold down and reply.
Mm-hmm.
Or you could add a thumbs up. You could add a ha 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 if something was funny that you were trying to let that person know you thought it was funny, whatever they were saying, but you didn't really want to respond, but you wanted to give a little,
Just
a heart. There's a variety of emojis that you could use when you do that.
the
Or
other.
if you didn't know what they were talking about and you put a big question mark because you wanted some clarity on what they were saying, you could put a question mark as well.
Now, most all of these phones have a keyboard, a normal keyboard like you would see on a laptop or even the old-fashioned typewriters. But there's also a little dictation, a little microphone at the bottom corner of most home screens. So if you just want to speak what you're trying to portray to someone, you can do what's called talk to text. You hold the little speaker button down and it's recording everything that I'm saying right now, and then I would hit the send button. Honestly, I tend to reread what I talk to text before I send it. Sometimes I speak quickly and it doesn't quite hear me clearly, so it could cause some sort of funny mix-ups if you're not careful. But it is a really helpful tool if I have arthritis. My hands get tired. If I don't want to keep typing all the time, I do a lot of talks to text, which I think has been helpful.
I think you definitely hit the nail on the head about rereading. I've had some funny family experiences, and thank God they were with the family.